Craveable Podcast, Season 2, Episode 12, Food Histories and Origins.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome to the Craveable Podcast, where real matters. We are your hosts, Ben and Katie, and this show is brought to you by Paso Paros. We unfortunately couldn't think of a fun, a punny title for you guys for this, but we are talking about food, various food items and dishes, and their unique origins or histories. And I know that Ben and I both did some completely separate research, so what you're about to hear today could get pretty strange.
Can't believe you printed yours out. I just scribbled mine down.
I did. I printed mine out. Do you want to start?
No, you said yours were a secret and mine were out in public. Others have
But I didn't look at the articles that were shared.
You were supposed to.
Okay. So, one of the ones I really, this is kind of like a nice story, and I'll start with the one, this is the Icelandic thing that I don't know how to pronounce. So, this is the history of Icelandic rye bread, which maybe this is a bad one because that's not something that everyone eats. But this was basically somebody who was doing an article on it, and it was in the small lakeside town of Lagavautnen. I'm probably going to stop trying to pronounce these things. But so there's these geothermal baths there, and there's a guy who's basically like a national icon for this rye bread, which I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but all he does is make this bread. He makes it for the president, and they asked him why it's so special. So basically, this Icelandic rye bread has like a really high sugar content, and it's more like cake than like bread. But the craziest thing is how it's cooked. So basically, this guy goes near this like lake, I think, and he digs a hole really deep until this water starts to come up that's like bubbly. So it's basically baked in a natural geothermal pit. And what they do is once he's dug down deep enough, he takes the dough and he puts it in a pot and he sits it in the boiling water. And then he buries it all up and he puts like a single stone on top of the mound that he's created. And that basically signifies to everyone around here, like, hey, I'm cooking here. I'm cooking something in here. And then he does this every day, and then he leaves. It takes 24 hours, and then he comes back, digs it out, cools it with water from the lake, and then he's got this like
the pot or the bread. If it's cooked for 24 hours, it has to get moist somehow.
Probably, I don't know. That's a great question. But no, and then he's got it's a staple of Icelandic cuisine, and a lot of people use just like an oven, but this guy's like, no, this is the way that my grandmother did it, and this is how I always do it.
This is more convenient.
Yeah, but so I thought that was really cool. I was like, you literally bake bread in a geothermal bubbling thing next to some lake. Like I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of a bad one to start though, because it's not every day that you eat Icelandic rye bread around here.
I've not had it this year yet. I'll put it on my list.
So why don't you go with the better one?
Well, I was going to say the reason that we decided to do this is because so many times, like, there's like what people say is like apocryphal stories of where food comes from. Everybody's just like, oh, potato chips, or like this guy had thin potatoes and then he fried them.
Wait, I think I have that one.
Yeah. Or like fries or something like that. And it's all like these stories that are like kind of the same, but every single culture has one where it's just like, oh, like a matter of inconvenience and like a spark of ingenuity. But most of those aren't the real history of where food comes from, and like where it comes from is like more interesting. Like the guy bothered to dig the pit, lake pit for the bread is to me more interesting than being like, oh, like they were ill prepared.
Oh, so many of mine are like that. So
I have a few of those too. I mean, I have one that I thought was pretty interesting, is kind of where pink lemonade came from.
Oh my God, I almost did that one.
That one's pretty interesting.
What do you do?
And they have like two stories about it, and it comes from the circus. I have two circus things and two things about pink lemonade. So we're going down the iceberg of the circus foods. But pink lemonade, allegedly, they would do just like water, honey, and lemon, right, for lemonade. And then supposedly the guy didn't have any sugar one time who was inventing it. I should have wrote his name down. It doesn't matter. Circus Jerry was his name, and he used red cinnamon candies, and that ended up making it pink, right? And that's like a great story. And you're like, oh, how like ingenious. I don't think I want cinnamon in my lemonade, which is whatever. But then the other half of the story was that the guy didn't have clean water. So he just used the water from cleaning pink tights. So the water was colored from the dirty tub water. Yeah. And then he made lemonade with that, and it just happened to be pink. That's more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, I read
and depending on what you're into.
I was pretty disturbed by that.
Yeah, it's gross.
All right, what's a good one? So I hope that potato chip.
So many of them.
I know, I have so many. I guess that potato chip thing isn't real. I don't know. That's what I read. But I liked oyster sauce. It was invented by accident by Lee Kum Shung. So he ran, I don't know what year this was, but he ran a little tea stall.
10. It was year 10.
Year 10. He ran a tea stall that sold cooked oysters. And one day he was cooking his oysters as usual, but he lost track of time, and they were basically left to simmer until he smelled something really, really strong. And so he lifted the lid of the pot, and the normally like clear oyster soup was this thick brown mixture with what they say here was an astonishingly delicious taste. So then he started selling his new seasoning, and it was a hit with the locals. And then he founded Lee Kum Lee to promote oyster sauce and other Chinese sauces.
Oh, really?
All around
I was
going to
ask. That's so interesting because I know they have like that special label on the oyster sauce that everybody always has.
Is that what that is?
Well, I was wondering like if there's an origin to the label. I'm only thinking I should have looked that up now, but I'm not going to Google it while we're on the podcast.
No, we can't do that.
But I wonder if they ended up having like something in that imagery because the Lee Kum Lee is the bottle that I have at home. I'm going to look into that later.
I bet you that is. I bet it's got to be. I bet you it is.
The OG.
So that was pretty cool.
Like we made oyster sauce, and then we had to invent glass so we could transport it. That's how old oyster sauce is.
Okay, let's see where we said. Oh, I like this one. Okay, so oh wait, I lost mine. Let's see, this is the problem. Oh, popsicles. Okay. 11-year-old Frank Epperson, this kid who lived in California, in 1905, he left a cup of water and powdered soda on his porch, and that cup had a glass. Oh no, the glass had a little stick in it to like mix the powdered soda, yeah. And then the thing froze overnight. So he released it by running the outside of the cup under hot water, and he called them because his name was Epperson. He called them Epsicles, and he kept making them for his friends. And then when the guy grew up, he made them for his children, and they apparently convinced him to call the ice pops popsicles, which is a play on the word pops sickles.
Yeah.
And then
I think
in 1923 he patented the popsicle brand. And in 1925 he teamed up with a company to distribute them throughout the country. So that's literally like the popsicle brand. That's the story of that.
I guess they put the hyphen in so nobody's like Pops Ickles.
Pops Ickles. Yeah, no, that's not as tasty sound.
That's like kind of like one of the things where you hear it and you're like, is it like that creative? He's the first person to put a stick in frozen ice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was 1905.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So I thought that was cool.
Sell the story, babe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was looking at the other circus one is Lucky Charms. Did you see this one?
I did see that one.
We probably saw the same one. The internet's like, nah.
Not that good.
I should have went to a library.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. But they have circus peanuts, which are actually a marshmallow in the shape of a peanut, as we all know, for all of us born in 1936. And then the guy at the circus, and I didn't write his name down. It doesn't matter who invented these things. It's just the ingenuity of mankind. And so he chopped them up and put them in a bowl of Cheerios. And literally within the same year, he invented Lucky Charms and had them on the shelves at stores, which I thought was super interesting. Good for him. Getting to market that fast. Today, can you imagine?
In this economy? We're so funny. Okay, wait. I like this one. Japanese tempura. Now
this was a good one. Yeah.
Oh, am I saying I can do another one?
No, we both used Google. So
okay. So in 1543, a Chinese ship with three Portuguese sailors on board was headed to Macau. But they were swept off course, and they ended up on a Japanese island called Tanegashima. And these Portuguese people, Antonio de Mota, Francisco Zé Moto, and Antonio Peixoto, they were the Don't laugh at me. They were the first Europeans to ever be on Japanese soil. And the locals called them Southern barbarians because of where they came and their unusual non-Japanese-like features. But the Japanese, they were in the middle of a civil war, and they eventually started trading with the Portuguese guys, basically for guns. But it started a Portuguese trading post in Japan, which, started with guns. Then it became soap, tobacco, wool, and even some recipes. So the Portuguese, now this, remember, started in 1543. But the Portuguese remained in Japan until 1639, when they were banished because the ruling people at the time believed Christianity was a threat to Japanese society. And as their ship sailed away for the final time, the Portuguese, they left a mark on the island that was a battered and fried green bean recipe called, ready with this one? Pepinos da Horta. Today, in Japan, it's called tempura, has been a staple of the country's cuisine ever since.
That's so interesting. So they just batter fried something, and that's what the tempura is?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. With green beans, nonetheless. The least exciting thing to have tempura fried.
Makes them a lot better, though.
It does make them a lot better. Any vegetable, really.
I don't have any ones that are that good. I have, like,
I don't believe you.
Well, I was looking at the pizza one, and everybody's like, oh, pizza originally started as flatbread. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Obviously.
But I thought it was interesting that Greece founded a city in Italy called Neapolis, which is today known as Naples, Italy, where we get Neapolitan pizza from.
Neapolis.
Yeah. And I cannot imagine going to Greece and having good pizza for some reason now. Somewhere along the line they went wrong. Speaking of pizza pies and pies in general, did you know pies were used as a method of food preservation? Because they would crimp the dough all around super tight, and then it would be airtight, so it would preserve the meat for a long time.
Did not know that. That's very
fun?
interesting.
Are you going to find it?
I have a really serious problem. I printed everything on both pages, and I'm really... Hang on.
No, hang on.
I have a good one with Pez. Here.
About to quit smoking.
Yeah, okay, I won't bend around it.
It's fine.
Pez, arguably the most famous candy in the world. Pez dates back to 1927, where Edward Haas III used a new process to compress peppermint flavor into the candy to save money and preserve flavor. And they didn't have the Pez dispenser, so it was just packaged like normal candy. But he actually was inspired to make them with the purpose of being an anti-smoking, a smoking cessation thing. And he thought it might prevent overeating. And today, Pez sells billions every year in over 90 countries. No word on whether it's effective at stopping people from smoking.
I would think not. How cool would it be to have a Pez dispenser that dispenses a cigarette, though? Let's talk about it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, guys, Stacy does not know what Pez is. Stacy, you're not missing out. It's a disgusting thing that shouldn't be called candy. Pez are gnarly.
If you ever ate chalk as a kid.
Yeah, Pez are not good.
Or Flintstones gummy vitamins before they were the gummies.
So wait, the potato chips thing isn't true? Because I have here...
Every culture ever has been like, oh, let me just deep fry this thing. And they're like, look, I invented something new. And it's just...
Okay, so you're right.
Every hotel's like, no, we invented
it. The invention of potato chip is often attributed to George Crumb, a chef in Saratoga Springs, New York in the 1850s. According to legend...
It's definitely not from America.
No.
If anything.
And this is legend, which is how you know it's not true, because it's legend. A customer complained that his fried potatoes were too thick, and in a fit of frustration, he sliced them extremely thin and fried them until they were crispy and served them with extra salt. And the customer loved them. That's the legend. So not true, probably.
Let it be told. It is known.
Yeah, not true, probably. What else you got, Ben? I want to see if we have any other same ones.
No, we definitely have a bunch of same ones, but I didn't have that many. I did look at the history of the tamale that TJ sent me, and it's something like 8,000 years old, which is interesting.
Oh my God.
So it's like before corn or like maize was a thing, because they had teosinte, which is like the original crop plant, which basically like looks like a grass with these little nubs at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very small grain on it, and that's what they would use for the masa to make the tamale.
So it wasn't even corn?
Not yet. Proto-corn.
Wow.
Never mind.
Anyway, it was a prototype.
If you get it, you get it. That's hilarious.
That's very interesting. What else about tamales?
That's it.
Okay.
That's not the role. But it's so interesting because to me, a tamale is like cooked in a corn husk, right?
Yeah.
Also.
That's what I thought.
Well, they just wrap it in like a lot of grass.
No. What I thought was funny is I was like, oh, let me get a really good one. I Googled history of bread. And like a minute and a half later, I was like, I'm not going to even touch this.
Is it like forever long?
Yes. It was like a giant Wikipedia page. And I was like, hurts my eyes. I can't do this.
I did do tomato a little bit.
Tomatoes, the fruit?
Yeah. Coming from the Aztec.
Really?
Yeah. One of your least favorite things and one of
your
favorite things,
raw.
chocolate and tomatoes. Both come from the Aztecs. They would drink like this like chocolate drink. And I don't know if it was which one of the crazy Aztec emperors was drinking like 50 cups a day out of a gold cup. Big boy.
Yeah, that's intense. Except I don't know. I don't think there was any sugar in it back then.
No, they probably didn't have sugar.
You want to know about Cheetos?
Oh, I think I did. Yeah, I did Cheetos.
Okay, well,
you do Cheetos. Okay. Cheetos is fun.
So Cheetos. And this is actually the history of the cheese curl. Any kind of the puffy Cheetos,
unbranded
like snacks. Yeah, unbranded cheese puffs.
OTC.
Over the counter. So it was never meant to be human food or really food at all. So they came from an animal feed company. This is a great name called the Flakall Corporation. Flakall.
No relation to Katie.
No relation to me. And this is actually a company that had a factory that made animal feed from like ground up corn, and sometimes the machine would get jammed up. So to clean it, the workers would run wet corn through, and then when the wet corn heated up, it cooked into a puff. And it was never meant.
You're getting so much pleasure.
It was never meant to be human.
Can you imagine?
Because listen to this. No, because look at the next sentence. Remember, this was never human food, but some industrious workers thought the puffs looked tasty, so they tried them. Edward Wilson, an employee at the factory, took some home and added seasoning. Thus, the cheese curl was born. Can you imagine you work in an animal feed factory and you're like, oh no, I know it's not supposed to come out.
100,000%.
That looks pretty good.
Would definitely would do that.
I'm gonna try that. And then he's like, he takes them home. He's like, honey, we need the salt. Like, add some seasoning. I don't know what year this is, but I can't imagine what that seasoning was, but I thought that was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I wonder when they came up with powdered cheese. I'm thinking of all the things I wish I knew now that I'm here.
I'll go over the next 7 while Ben Googles all the answers that he wants.
Out of here. I'll BRB. Speaking of tomatoes, real quick, did you know in the UK, India, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, and all those countries that don't speak proper English, JK,
my goodness,
that they would call ketchup tomato sauce? That freaks me out, man.
What was tomato sauce called?
Tomato sauce, probably also. But they would do it in lieu, instead of like being like ketchup or catsup, as we call it. They would just be like, oh, I want a side of tomato sauce with my fries. And being in New Jersey, I'm like, that's also not weird. I've definitely had fries with marinara sauce.
No, wait, they do that now today still?
Yeah, they still call it tomato sauce.
That's really interesting.
I agree.
I am
like in a bad way.
I heard, I mean, that's confusing because what if I want like spaghetti? Like, I don't want spaghetti and ketchup. You know what I mean?
We've all been there.
I have.
No, just me.
I've never
frequent on this pod.
Did you? I heard you were definitely hemming and hawing about some other things when you were doing this research.
I was looking at a few things. I mean, this was weeks ago because we kept pushing off recording this episode, if I'm being honest. And then I freaked out and didn't write everything down.
God,
I have a terrible memory.
Sometimes we like to pull the curtain back for you guys, our loyal listeners.
Yeah, pierce the veil, as they say.
Oh goodness. Well, okay. So pancakes. What about pancakes, huh?
Flapjacks.
Flapjacks. So this is how this starts, right?
Okay, Jerry Seinfeld. How about pancakes?
So it says no modern day food could have been popular over 30,000 years ago. Right. Well, researchers have, now I don't know about the name of this character here, but it is a link. Well, researchers have actually found pancakes in the stomach of Otzi the Iceman, a corpse dating back 5,300 years.
Oh, yeah, he was that frozen dude that they found. And they also found that frozen girl and a frozen mammoth. A lot of people getting too cold out there.
Yeah, too cold. So in ancient Greece and Rome, pancakes were made from a mixture of honey, wheat flour, olive oil, and curdled milk. Not sure about the curdled part. That sounds yucky. But during the English Renaissance, they flavored it with apple, sherry. You got me there. Alcohol's a tradition. Rose water or spices.
We got callbacks now?
You guys got to listen back to know what we're even joking about. Thomas Jefferson loved pancakes so much that he sent a recipe for specialty pancakes to his hometown from the White House.
I feel like everything's just a flatbread. They were like, we just have all this stuff, I'll make a batter and then make a flatbread.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Flatbreads are
Pancakes with tomato sauce.
pancakes and ketchup.
Is it an olive or a walnut? Sorry, guys. This is the last episode of season 2, so I'm just trying to call back everything from the last 2 seasons.
So you have to go back and listen to them.
Yeah, but people are just gonna be like, what is she talking about? I don't get it.
Scallion pancakes are so different than normal pancakes and flapjacks.
God, I love scallion pancakes.
They basically like take the dough and then roll it and then cut it and then like fry it off.
The scallion pancakes?
Yeah. That's why they have like all those textured layers to them, because it's like flattened out, rolled, and then cut. It's like it's more like an actual scallion cinnamon bun.
Like a croissant?
Scallion bun. A croissant.
But without the butter?
Yes.
Hey, do you want to know the history of croissants?
Yeah. If you say it right. The
Croissant.
R is silent.
Okay, so this is good. I like this one. Wow, I do have a lot. I'm really...
Good.
I need to chill out with this.
Thank God.
Okay. So the croissant, the mom of the croissant was something called Kipferl, which was an Austrian crescent-shaped pastry. It can be dated back. It did give birth to the croissant, so it is the mother of the croissant.
Necessity is the mom of invention.
The Kipferl can be dated back to at least the 13th century in Austria, and it has come in many shapes. But stories of how the Kipferl, sometimes confused with the croissant, was created are widespread and persistent culinary legends going back to the 19th century. However, there's no contemporary sources for any of the stories. So, some of the tales include, and I thought this was cool, that they invented it in Europe to celebrate the defeat of the Umayyad forces by the Franks at the Battle of Tours in 732, and the shape was representing the Islamic crescent.
There's no way any of those words are just pronounced correctly. Also.
No.
You mad?
Or that I just can't pronounce these things. Or that it was invented in Vienna in 1683 to celebrate the defeat of the Ottomans by the Christian forces. And the crescent was supposed to be like a reference to the crescent on the Ottoman flags, kind of like as an insult, like, ha, we beat you. Look, we're going to imitate your flag with this delicious pastry.
People are so childish.
And no, but it said bakers, they would stay up all night hearing like the tunneling operations and gave the alarm. I don't know. Croissant. That's what I got. That's a bad one. It's definitely your turn now.
Laminated dough.
I don't think it's laminated. Yeah, it's definitely laminated.
Yeah. It's just like, come on. You went to culinary school.
I did not go to culinary school. Anyway, not a doctor.
We should. So then, to circle back, the scallion pancake is really just a laminated pancake. There's no butter in it, but still, they do grease up everything there. What about, where the name for the restaurant group Momofuku comes from?
No.
It's
Love David Chang, though. Shout out to David Chang.
Yeah.
He totally listens to the podcast.
He's my favorite big boy.
Good.
It comes from the guy who invented the instant noodle in Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you
As an homage.
tell me more?
He invented the instant noodle by drying and deep frying them.
No, what's his name?
Something Momofuku.
Oh, that's cool. We've got the producers laughing.
His first name
guys.
was Instant.
Oh.
Laminated all.
Okay, so French fries, that one's whack. Chicken tikka. Oh, let's do chicken tikka masala.
Yeah, it's actually English.
Okay.
Everybody knows that.
So it's not English. It was born in Scotland.
All right.
So it was born in Scotland, a country that,
Wrong cold island.
I think. So, the thing is, it was
same island.
it was.
No one cares.
Oh my goodness!
Like I do.
Everyone's a while now because this is the last episode.
He's wearing a kilt right now.
So it was born in Scotland, but the chef who created it was from Bangladesh. So he lived in Glasgow in the 70s and made this creamy tomato sauce and added it to chicken tikka, trying to make some customer happy. Yada yada legend.
Just like can't just go off track like that.
And then it got obviously super, super popular, traveled across Europe and became the most popular food in the whole of the UK.
Yeah. People think it's like an invention in India. Can you imagine? I mean, I think we might have talked about this at one point, but like without all the cross-cultural things coming from Mexico in particular, like peppers, potatoes, and tomatoes had different European and like Southeast Asian food would be
Wildly different.
like imagine Indian food without peppers, or like tomato based curries, or imagine Scotland without potatoes.
Or America without pizza.
America without pizza.
I can't imagine it.
You know what I would
It's a
say if
world
we
I don't
didn't
wanna
have
live
it?
in.
I would be like, Mamma mia.
Oh my-
We're having fun. We're having a good time.
You told me not to do the Fanta one, but I want to do the Fanta one.
Don't you want a Fanta? I don't think it has like. It's not a great history. Do
Despite its
BMW and Hugo
wait,
Boss next.
so Ben just sang the Fanta song. Despite its cheerful jingle and tropical vibes, Fanta has dark origins.
Yeah. Sorry,
So-
Mom.
So before 1941, Ben, funny, Coca-Cola supplied syrup to Coca-Cola GmbH, which was its German subsidiary. And then after America joined World War II in 1941, Coca-Cola cut ties and stopped giving the syrup to their German company. And so without that syrup, the German brand of Coca-Cola had to improvise and figure out different ingredients. So the CEO, this guy named Max Keith, he started to use like remnants
Max.
of food manufacturing processes like apple peels and whey. And basically the finished product was Fanta, which then became the official drink of the Nazi party.
That's not the last fact we're ending on, right?
No.
No.
No. Okay. That's the show. Wait, that was
As an
long.
aside, the BMW logo is actually a propeller, like for an airplane, because they used to make planes for Germany.
Ooh,
too.
okay. How about we end with this?
Terrible
I got a
history.
fun one for the end. Dippin' Dots.
Ooh, this is a good one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, actually, Dippin' Dots were invented through an experiment to make cattle feed. So they hit the market in 1988. Right. We all know what Dippin' Dots are. I thought they were the coolest thing when I was a kid. But basically, they're the result of a flash freezing, where you have the liquid ice cream mixture and it's just flash frozen with liquid nitrogen, which gives it those little beads, and it has to be stored super, super cold, like -40 to, maintain the way it looks and all that good stuff. But when it was invented, a microbiologist named Kurt Jones was trying to make the perfect cattle feed. And that same process that makes tiny beads of ice cream also makes tiny beads of all kinds of things.
Yeah, we read the same one. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, so
You
he
can actually make tiny beads of everything.
tiny beads of anything. Of you. No. That's sorry.
Oh my God.
That's weird.
What's in that cup?
So he thought he came up with this process, and then this dude, Jones, he was just like, oh, this could be cool if you did it to ice cream. And that literally made Dippin' Dots.
And where does ice cream come from? Comes from China, because they used to freeze like goat and buffalo
didn't
milk
do that.
yogurt.
Yeah.
We've come full circle. I want ice cream.
If you guys have made it to this point in the episode,
Bless you.
bless you, and may everyone have mercy on your souls.
Yeah.
But that being said, this is the last episode of season 2 of the Craveable Podcast. If you've made it this far, like our friend Chef Jeff has, he said he's watched every episode, we thank you, and you have tremendous patience and resiliency.
And if you want to make some recommendations on things you want us to talk about, feel free to leave some comments for us.
Yeah, definitely leave comments. Definitely happy to talk about whatever crazy things you kids come up with. But in the meantime, thank you so much for sticking with us through another season of the Craveable Podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and, nicely. And we look forward to seeing you guys again very soon.
3, 2,